folks, Dr. Rob Barrington here with some more nutrition advice. Now, I wanted to do a video that explains the difference between health and fitness and why that relates to weight loss and why it's important to know the difference between the two. Now, I have noticed during my time as a nutritionist that a lot of people do confuse the two terms. They do confuse health and fitness. There is an overlap between them, but it's important to understand the differences between them because one of them more strongly relates to being able to be successful at weight loss than the other, and being able to differentiate between the two and the two terms and being able to define them can actually be quite useful. And I've explained this to a lot of people, and when I explain it, it does seem to make a lot more sense to them what they're actually trying to achieve through their program to obtain weight loss. So both of these terms are, like I say, they do overlap, and they're not, the definitions are not, they're not simple definitions, but I'll try and define them as best that I can, as the way I see both of the two terms. So first of all, what is health? Well, health is the absence of disease, but a lot of people add a caveat to that as well, that says that as well as having an absence of disease, there has to be something positive. So, for example, simply having no disease doesn't make you healthy. What there has to be is some kind of a positive energy, both mental and physical, that gives you some kind of zest for life, and that's really what we're looking at with health. So health can be physical and mental, of course. So you can be very physically healthy, but you can have, for example, a mood disorder. So overall, you wouldn't be a healthy person because you'd be carrying a mood disorder, and that would affect you, would affect your life in a negative way. And likewise, you can have a very healthy mental outlook, but you could have, for example, a physical disease, and therefore, obviously, you wouldn't be healthy. So really, to be healthy, you have to be of sound mind. You have to be happy. You have to also have no disease in your body, so you have to be physically healthy, and there has to be something slightly positive as well. So you have to have a certain amount of energy, and you just have to have a certain amount of vibrance for life, and that's added by a lot of people, because really health is, you see somebody that's healthy, they usually have this kind of positivity about them, both physically and mentally. So that's really what health is. If we look at fitness, fitness is quite different, and now fitness is actually quite difficult to define, so this might be a little bit more convoluted, my explanation, but generally I think fitness can be defined as the ability to perform a particular task without any undue stress being created. Now, most people, when they think about fitness, they think about sport, they think about physical exercise, and in a way that's a very good way of thinking about it, because physical exercise is a stress, and to be able to perform a particular physical exercise without causing undue stress in the long term and damaging your body means that you're able to you're physically fit for that particular exercise. Now, physical fitness varies between different people, and the more specialized and the more fit you come in a particular aspect of something, the less you become fit in other areas. So for example, somebody that could run an ultra marathon without causing too much undue stress on their body would be said to be fit for that particular task. However, the same person might not be fit to lift 120 kilograms above their head in a military press. So fitness tends to be specific, and generally even people who are in what we define as incredibly fit still do cause quite a lot of stress on their body when they perform physical exercise. It's just that if you compare them to somebody perhaps who had never practiced that particular exercise or that particular sport, the amount of stress would be much less. So if you took a person off the street and you asked them to run 50 miles, it could probably, it could well kill them. 100 miles, this is the sort of distances that put such a massive toll on the body that there's only a certain small number of people in the world that can actually perform those tasks, because they are so difficult. The training is so difficult to do. You need a lot of time, you need a lot of motivation, and so when we get to the very peak of fitness, there's a very, very small amount of people in the world that are able to do particular tasks. But generally, if we take it back a notch, fitness is the ability to perform a task without undue stress. So you might be going to the gym 3 times a week. That might be a certain level of fitness. So, and we don't always have to, associate fitness with sport. Fitness could be being able to perform, work in the garden. It could be just going to work. You might have a physically demanding job, or you might have a mentally demanding job. Fitness can be stretched to being, defined mentally. But I want to stick to the physical aspect of fitness, because that's the area that people confuse with health. So how does all this relate to weight loss? Well, you're middle-aged, you put some weight on, you look down, you've got a bit of a belly, you're becoming fat. The vast majority of people I come across that are not experts in nutrition or experts in physical activity will either decide that they are going to go for a run and do some physical exercise to lose the weight, or they will be advised poorly that is the best way to lose weight. And this is all based on the energy balance equation, where the amount of energy, the amount of weight that you put on is based on the amount of energy that you take in minus the amount of energy that you burn. The theory is that if you burn more energy, the amount of weight that you're storing will decrease and you'll lose weight. That's a fallacy. I've talked about that many times, and it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because weight loss is not caused by a lack of running. Weight gain is not caused by a lack of running. Weight gain is not caused by not going to the gym. Weight gain is caused by a metabolic disturbance. Obesity and abdominal weight gain, which is what most people have, is a metabolic disorder. It's a disease. And that disease is caused by insulin resistance, and that insulin resistance is caused by poor diet, mainly by the addition of refined carbohydrates and refined sugar in the diet. And the combination of those two foods tends to lead to the development of insulin resistance, and over time that causes the development of obesity through a metabolic dysfunction. Insulin resistance is effectively a cellular dysregulation. Now, to think that you can force your body to reverse a metabolic disorder that has been caused by diet through adding a stress to your body, which in the form of exercise, is where the eureka moment should come to you. If you have a metabolic disorder and you have a physical problem with your cells, in other words, they can't use insulin properly, there is a certain amount of insulin resistance that you can gain back through doing exercise. And there will always be people that will argue that they did exercise and they lost weight. The problem we have is that a lot of people who do exercise to lose weight also change their diet. And what we actually, if we look in the literature about looking at physical activity, and we look at dietary changes, nearly always the dietary changes are far superior in causing long-term permanent weight loss. Now, I'm not going to argue that if you ate virtually nothing and you exercised for very long periods of time and made yourselves incredibly fit to be able to go to the gym every day, that you wouldn't lose weight. You would. I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is that you will not have corrected fully the metabolic dysfunction, and you will effectively be making yourself actually more unhealthy. You may have lost weight, but you will have lost weight in an unhealthy way. And what tends to happen in those people that lose weight is they tend to lose a lot of skeletal muscle as well as the body fat, and this puts their metabolic situation in an even worse position, because they have to maintain that lifestyle in order to maintain that weight loss, and they're obviously not in a healthy place. So as soon as they go back to eating anywhere near a normal amount of energy in their diet, they will simply put the weight straight back on again, because underlying their physical fitness is still the health problem of having insulin resistance and a metabolic dysfunction in cells. Now I'm simplifying that. It's not simply insulin resistance. There are other metabolic dysfunctions. For example, you can get leptin resistance. resistance. You can get changes in the brain chemistry. You can get changes to other hormones, and they all come together as this metabolic dysfunction. And you can create generally somebody who is able to be fit over the top of that, and that can cause short-term weight loss. But unfortunately, the metabolic dysfunction, the unhealthiness that is causing the problem, will still be there. So what's the solution to this? Well, the thing that I always recommend if people want to lose weight is that they think about what's actually probably caused their weight gain. Now, there'll always be a certain amount of weight gain as you get older. As you get older, it does become more difficult to keep weight off. And that's because as you get older, your insulin system and all your hormones, they don't work as efficiently as they do when you're younger. So you tend to have to be more careful about what you eat as you get older. And that's really the clue as to what is the correct strategy to lose weight. If you want to lose weight, you have to make yourself healthy. A healthy person, remember what I said the definition of healthy was no physical disease, and obesity is a disease. So if you have an underlying insulin resistance that's causing weight gain, you have to get rid of that insulin resistance. And that insulin resistance is caused by poor diet. So all you have to do to be able to reverse that is to eat a healthy diet. You have to be able to remove the foods that are causing the dysfunction, and you have to turn to foods that have a beneficial effect and also will not have any detrimental metabolic effects. Now, I've talked about healthy diets and what to eat, and I don't really want to go into that, but really the two things that you should be avoiding if you want to lose weight are refined sugar of any type, anything with fructose in it, so that's high fructose corn syrup. Sucrose has fructose in it. Fructose has fructose in it, obviously. Fruit juices, any of those sugary foods, biscuits, cakes, all of that needs to be cut out. And also refined carbohydrates, that's pasta. Potatoes are particularly bad if they don't have the fibre with them and you eat a lot of them. You know, chips, crisps, lots of the rice that people eat is refined. All of that starchy, refined carbohydrate needs to be removed as well. And the diet needs to go to a plant-based diet that is based mainly, the carbohydrate sources for that diet come mainly from a small amount of fruit, but mainly from vegetables. And that is really, increasing the protein content of the diet with high quality protein is also another beneficial thing to do. And you also have to make sure that you're getting all of the essential nutrients that you need. So that's the essential fatty acids, the essential amino acids, which should be in the protein anyway, all the vitamins and minerals that you need to be able to cause your metabolism to work properly. And as soon as your body gets all of the things it needs, the insulin resistance that's causing the weight gain will reverse, and your body will simply burn the extra calories. You don't need to go running. As soon as your metabolism is working, your body's set point, your homeostatic point, the weight that your body requires itself to be, will return. And the body is able to do that because the body can create heat from calories. You can obviously force the body to burn energy by going for a run, but if you give yourself the correct nutrients and you have a healthy diet, your body will simply, if it has too much weight, it will simply burn the calories, and those calories will turn into heat. And this is what, one of the things I've always said to people: you can tell when you're losing weight because you feel hot all the time. Your body starts to lose the requirement to hold on to that energy because its metabolism is working properly, and those metabolic pathways that have stored a lot of that energy start reversing the process, and you start to enter into a period of catabolism, and your adipose tissue levels decrease back to where they would be. And your body has a set point for weight. Your body doesn't like being overweight, but obviously if it has a metabolic deficiency of particular pathways, the insulin resistance is causing the sugar in your blood to pass into fat cells rather than into your muscles to be burnt. That is your body can't cope. It can't do what it wants to do, which is burn the energy, and it ends up storing the energy because it has no alternative. So if you're thinking about losing weight and you go out and you go and do lots of running, really all you're doing is adding a certain amount of fitness. So you'll probably be able to, you'll gradually build up the amount that you can run, but you're not really making yourself healthy. And by not making yourself healthy, you're not really giving yourself a chance of the weight loss being successful in the long term. Short-term weight loss is very easy, and this is why there are so many people that claim that diets work, particular low-calorie diets work, particular exercise regimes work. It's because they do work. Every single diet and every single exercise regime will work in the short term. What I'm talking about is long-term permanent weight loss, and that means that you have to eat a healthy diet. There's no problem with being fit on top of being healthy, but if I had the choice of being either fit or healthy, I'd much rather be healthy. And I think most people would pick health over fitness. Fitness is great to have. I enjoy doing exercise and challenging myself physically, but you can't really do that properly if you're not healthy and have this underlying health. So really, when you look at fitness and health, health is the most important factor, and fitness is something that you can add to health in order to be able to go out and perform things really for your own enjoyment, to push yourself, to challenge yourself. Thinking about fitness as a way of losing weight is not something that's going to work. It's not really something that is beneficial. And there are lots of exercise gurus that will argue with me and say, well, if I have someone, I take them to the gym, I can get them to lose weight. It's very difficult because there are so many confounding variables. Nearly every study where people increase the amount of exercise they do, they also change their diet, and you do it naturally, and it's the dietary component that has the effect. The reason I thought about doing this video, obviously I get a lot of people asking me how to lose weight, but over the summer I've seen a lot of overweight people jogging locally. I've been driving to work, and I see a lot of overweight people really struggling, and they're putting a lot of effort in. They're sweating heavily. They've obviously decided they want to lose some weight, and they're jogging, and they don't look particularly fit, but they're obviously they've either come to the conclusion that exercise is the way forward, or they've been falsely advised. And really, if you take somebody that's overweight, they've got high blood pressure, they've got a lot of pressure on their joints, their back will be under quite a lot of stress. They may have, but they'll certainly have some kind of insulin resistance, metabolic dysfunction, and then forcing them to go out on a run where all of those parameters are going to be pushed to the extreme, and that stress is simply going to add more detrimental effects to their already damaged metabolism. It's really something that needs to be understood if weight loss is to be achieved. And remember, I'm talking about long-term successful weight loss, so I'm talking about 10, 15, 20, 25 years, the rest of your life. I'm not talking about studies that look at people for 3 months or 3 weeks or 2 weeks, or anecdotal stories of people that lost lots of weight in 3 weeks. That's fine, but I'm talking about the long term. And really, if you look at those people that have their health, that maintain their body weight over the long term, if you look at them, they have one thing in common, and that's they all eat high quality, healthy foods. So have a think about that. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but that's just my opinion. Always think health first, fitness second. If you're overweight and you're using exercise to try and lose weight and you're not losing weight, hopefully this has been helpful, and it might redirect you towards a more successful strategy. Certainly if you are in that category, if you have a look at some of my other videos, I talk about what to eat and what's healthy and what you can do in order to be able to lose weight, and some of my videos explain what causes weight gain and what causes weight loss in a lot more detail, so they might be useful as well. So as always, eat well, stay healthy and protect yourself, and I will see you soon for another video. Take care.